Yuno has put himself between a nearly dead Asta and a rampaging Lucifero who wants nothing more than to game end him. Neither he or Mario Leona can even land a scratch on him, and all they could really do is evade. But before we get into the nitty gritty, how are you guys doing today? I'm here to pose a theory / prediction that this battle, or at least Yuno's part in this battle, will end with Yuno losing his 4-Leaf Grimoire along with his wind magic. Yuno dying during this fight is something that is heavily speculated among the community, but I honestly don't think it would make sense for Tabata to kill him off. He has just revealed some pretty big stuff about his character that adds some major implications to his existence in the lore of the Black Clover universe, with many loose ends around him that are yet to be cleared up. To get it started right off the back, I would like to talk about my first piece of evidence on why Yuno may lose his wind magic. If you've been here before, you know that I don't really shut up about the fact that Zagred called Yuno the Destined One in the Shadow Palace. So Yuno not only has a destiny that is already written for him, but this is something that is known by Zagred, who Lucifero knows by name. And Lucifero doesn't know every devil's name, like in the case of Leaf. He tends to look down on those below him, so for him to even recall Zagred's name means they likely have had some sort of interaction. So Zagred being aware of Yuno's destiny and also a possible connection to Lucifero comes into full force now that Yuno, whose fate is already written, is in the presence of Lucifero, whose mere existence is enough to bend fate. Now, I want to bring up this slide from the Black Clover art exhibition that has been used to speculate his death, but I honestly think this can be interpreted in a different way. Yuno isn't completely burned away, he's only half faded. Magic and grimoires are tied to a mage's soul and basically an extension of their own body. And the elf within Yuno even calls himself a part of Yuno because basically all of his life experience is based on Yuno's point of view. So if Yuno lost his wind magic, he would be losing half of himself. And if we want to reach a bit, I could even talk about how Yuno's legs are the ones that are burned away. His foundation. Yuno's magical foundation is his wind magic. He's only had star magic for like 20 minutes, and even though it's his true attribute, wind magic is his core where he learned all his fundamentals, and what he used to rise in the ranks of the Magic Knights. I think that the most likely scenario of Yuno losing his Grimoire is Lucifero killing Asta right in front of him, Yuno despairing, turning his 4-Leaf Grimoire into a 5-Leaf, and fulfilling his destiny to provide Lucifero with a new Grimoire. And he would still have his star magic as kind of a backup power-up after being nerfed heavily when he loses access to both wind magic and the wind spirit's magic. Asta dying and Yuno losing his wind magic would also be a good way to nerf both of them and kind of reset the power creep a bit. In the next part of the video, I want to go over some of the connections between Lucifero and Yuno from real life mythology. That further links the two in Black Clover. This topic has been speculated by much smarter people than me, like Jack Oates. So this is me trying to throw my hat in the ring, but there's a reason I put this later in the video because, you know. In my last Yuno theory, I talked about how Beelzebub and Lucifero parallel two Greek star gods by the name of Hesperus and Phosphorus. A quick recap is that Beelzebub in the Old Testament of Solomon claims to be associated with the star Hesperus, and in Greek mythology, Hesperus, who is the god of the evening star, is the brother of Phosphorus, who is the god of the morning star and called the Dawnbringer. The morning star is Venus, and Lucifer literally means Venus, and he is called the Lightbringer. Now, Phosphorus and Hesperus are both the son of an astrological god by the name of Astraeus, which is basically a star god with extra steps. Astraeus has 4 other sons, 3 of which whose names you probably recognize. They're the 4 wind gods known as Zephyrus, Boreas, Eurus, and Notus. I know that was a whole lot of info dumping, but the conclusion is that these two already have connections within Greek mythology that go into the series. Yuno, who has both star magic and wind magic, spiritually connecting him to both Astraeus and the 4 wind gods, and Lucifero, who has gravity magic, which we know most likely isn't his true magic from this info sheet, but it portrays itself as gravity magic. Gravity and stars are constantly at odds with each other. Gravity trying to consume stars, while the star produces a field of gases to counteract the force of gravity called hydrostatic equilibrium. And Yuno has a star magic spell. He's able to create a field that negates gravity, which I also think is most likely called hydrostatic equilibrium. To get back to some more connections between the two within Black Clover, Lucifero clearly has some sort of connection to the elves, or the elves have some sort of connections to the angels, so by proxy Lucifero, because there's a group of elves called the Apostles of Sephira, meaning that they follow the Sephira, which can be interpreted as the Sephira itself, or what is more likely, the angels that correspond with each attribute of the Tree of Life. Because there is a devil that represents each clipotic attribute, and the Tree of Death is a direct shadow of the Tree of Life. Lucifer is a fallen angel and was one of the highest ranking devils before he fell, and this is most likely the case for Lucifero. So the Gravito Stone, a gravity magic infused floating strong magic region that contains a shrine of the Tree of Life that, when infused with the Apostles of Sephira's mana, unseals the Shadow Palace, which has a symbol that is superficially similar to the one that appears on Dante's chest when he's hosting Lucifero. The Shadow Palace is literally a magic space that, from what we can see, only contains the Tree of Life. Since Lucifero is the head of the Qliphoth, after he fell, I think that it's very likely that he was a member of the Sephira pre-fall from grace. And Yuno is the reincarnate of an Apostle of Sephira. Being an apostle seems to be something that is predetermined for the person and not a rank that you earn, since Lick's son was determined as one when his only time in the living realm was in Tetia's womb, so I don't really think that he had an opportunity to earn the rank. But yeah, that was my Yuno theory. Sorry that it didn't come out earlier. I was doing a bit of procrastinating. I was trying to get this theory out before 321 dropped, but I didn't. Sorry. But it's coming out now. You're welcome. Or, sorry if you don't like the video. But if you do like the video, please like it. Please subscribe. It's free, and it makes me really happy to see that number go up. But with that being said, this has been Roth. Later.